Hi everyone and welcome to my Unfiltered 20s.
A podcast about the ups and downs, highs and lows and realities of life in your 20s.
With me, Abbey Parker.
And me, Lucy Martin. So, this week we have a very special guest for the first time in a while. We are joined by Ishraq, who is the Deputy Games Editor at The Ball, and also we have a seminar together, so that is how we know each other. So, Ishraq, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, hello. I'm really honoured to be here for Really Famous now. I do history and politics, third year. Do a seminar with Lucy, and Deputy Editor of Ball Games, which is a part-time job / very exhausting, but yeah.
So everybody, how was your week? Abby, how was your week? What have you been up to?
Not much. I've just got like 50,000 projects going on all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now officially, I can start my research for my final year project.
Wow.
So I'm just procrastinating sending out emails.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually had a call with these people from one of the projects and they were like, oh yeah, no, we haven't started either. So I was like, thank goodness, because everyone's like sending their surveys out like, hey guys, do my survey. And I was like, because I'm
I
like
keep
not there.
seeing these. I feel like all uni, like I keep getting like people from like school and stuff being like, they haven't spoken to in years being like, oh, can you please fill out my psychology survey?
Yeah.
I get that a lot as well.
I literally got like, I got like an unknown number. Obviously got my like number off the psychology group chat or whatever. I was just like, hey pal, how are you? And I was like, I don't know who you are. If your name's not in my phone, don't message me.
That's weird.
She was like, here's my survey, and I was like, it took like 10 minutes as well. I was mad.
Well, it's like the Times grad survey.
Oh,
The amount of messages. I'm like, guys.
I've had 10 people already. I'm like, oh god.
Oh my god.
I've got one on Monday. I've got one scheduled.
Have you?
No, my excuse now is like, sorry, I've been asked already like 5 times. So,
Yeah, I know.
no.
That's what I say. It's just
I'll
like,
use that next time.
I don't really know what it is. Like, I feel like there's a thing people are like, oh, so I'm a Times survey person. There's a lot of people doing it. Like, it seems to be, it's like NCS. It's like one of those things where so many people do it that it's kind of not impressive.
Well, the funny thing is, it's not even run by the Times. Like, it's got the Times name, but it's run by some random survey company. So, like, to be like, yeah, no, you don't work for the Times. It's just some agency, and then
Right.
yeah, they get paid like £3 per person they manage to dupe into doing it. But yeah,
I'm not getting paid.
no,
Where's my cut?
They get paid for getting you to
Do
do it. Yeah, no.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. It's a paid job. That's why they're all doing it.
Right, okay.
Oh, I see.
That does make sense, I guess.
But also, I'm like, I'm not going to help you. Like, I'm not helpful to you because I don't know what I'm doing. So how am I going to answer your questions? Because I don't know.
It's quite early.
I'm just going to sit there like,
It's quite early in the year, isn't it? Like, not many people have stuff sorted for next year. I don't know.
No. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, what's your career plans? You've got Martin. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've got a
absolutely
clue what I'm
nothing
doing.
at the moment.
Yeah.
Because everyone's hiring at the moment. The job market is just like really wild. So.
Abby, what have you been watching, listening to, enjoying this week?
Okay, so I actually have something quite traumatic to speak about.
Here
something
we go.
I have not been enjoying.
Okay.
So I watched The Night Stalker on Netflix. Right.
Ooh.
Ishraq, have you seen it?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. No.
Okay, don't watch it. Basically, me and Lucy were talking about it, and I was like, you know what, Luce? I've got you. I'll watch it and let you know how scary it is.
Uh-huh.
I was terrified.
It looks
I couldn't sleep
terrifying.
for 3 days.
The trailer itself is terrifying.
Mm-hmm. I
Really?
literally was laying with my eyes wide open until 6 a.m. one night. I couldn't sleep. Basically, what was scary about it is that this isn't a spoiler or anything, but he literally did not have like a target.
Oh god.
You know how, because we were talking about the Ripper on Netflix, which is about the Yorkshire Ripper.
You watched that as well,
And
didn't you, Ishraq?
I have seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so that was like less scary because you knew who he was going for.
Yeah.
It was like young women, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you knew, like, if you were a guy, you didn't need to be scared. This guy literally killed anything.
That is
Anyone,
terrifying.
anything. He didn't care. He would just break in to houses.
Oh, stop it. Oh.
And I was like, the thing that kind of calmed me a bit was
Mhm.
that in America they have those stupid windows that you can push open from the
Oh
outside.
yeah.
So he would just push them up and walk into the house.
Oh my god.
Kind of like the ones that in the house we live in.
Oh god. I'm sorry. But I mean, he was in America, so you know.
Yeah.
But like, it just really freaked me out because he would break in and attack and assault people and not kill them, and sometimes he would kill them, and you like couldn't predict what he was gonna do.
Jesus.
He would like kidnap kids, but then not kill the kids. He never killed a kid, but he had no problem kidnapping them.
That's
Jesus.
horrific. Did they catch him? Do they know who it is?
Yeah, they did.
Right.
So
okay.
I don't want to spoil it, but the way they caught him was satisfying. I was like, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But it was just so freaky, and then like because his picture's on the cover, so you know
Yeah.
in your mind
yeah.
you've got like a brief
He's
like
quite young, isn't he?
I don't know how old he actually was, but he was, I would say, like under 30.
Oh. God.
But like he was just like, he lived in filth, his teeth were rotten, he didn't shower, he stunk. But in my head I was like, if he was killing all these people but he still smelt, like was he not showering after he killed people?
Oh my
Oh
god.
Jesus.
Do
That
you,
is
you know what I mean?
horrific.
This is exactly, I was absolutely distraught after watching
Just-
it.
Blood residue
And
all
then-
over him.
Oh.
Exactly. And then like he was saying, so this all happened like over the space of a year, right?
Yeah.
They started noticing patterns in all these murders and stuff.
Right. Right.
And then when he was on the way to like the courthouse or whatever, he was like, oh yeah, you know that murder that you couldn't solve from like 10 years ago, that was me.
No.
So they're like, what, did he just kill one person and then not kill for 9 years and then start again? So they're like, how many people did he kill? Because he went on sprees. He literally would do 2 murders of different households in the same night.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
So
Lord.
I will not be
my
watching
advice would be
this.
don't watch it.
I will not be watching this.
Like, I know you were going to wait and watch it with your boy. Don't even do that.
No.
Like, don't do it to yourself.
No. He wouldn't watch it. He'd be too scared. He gets too scared by like crime things.
This
Oh,
was, I
really?
think this was one of the worst
yeah,
I've ever watched.
he does.
Right. I'm
Outing
gonna
him.
keep a mental note of that. I will keep a mental note of that for next time I talk to him.
So, Ishraq, what have you been watching, listening to this week?
Yeah, I haven't been watching anything. Just feel like it's too much time to do that. I have too much work to do. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
as a gamer trademark, I've been playing. Yeah, standard Call of Duty. There's like new games that come out every month on PlayStation. So there's a new one that's everyone's been playing, Destruction All Stars. It's a bit like Rocket League, if you know that. It's like a car game we play with a football, but except without a ball, you're just like destroying each other. It's pretty good fun.
Of course.
Yeah, it's pretty good fun. It's free, so I guess why not try it if you
that's
have a
good.
PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apart from that, music, just listen to more Phoebe Bridgers. I went from like
We
completely
like Phoebe
hating
Bridgers on this podcast. We like
Yes.
her.
Yeah, I went from like hating her to like loving her. Like it just a complete 180. Like, ugh, like yeah, her music's just amazing. she's like, there's a cool personality. She's chill. Like, there's nothing to like despise about it. So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm a stan now. Hate to admit it, but yeah, yeah, it's pretty much been my week. Apart from that, work, dissertation reading, seminar reading, essays, same old stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
there's not much to do with lockdown, but yeah.
Nice. I have a show that I would like to talk about,
Oh,
that
God.
I'm
Okay,
very
go on.
excited about. So, there's a program on Amazon Prime called The Wilds. Have you seen it, Ishraq?
I haven't.
Okay, right. I literally never watch things like again, and I've already seen it the whole way through twice in 2 weeks.
Okay.
It is incredible. Like, it's like, I feel like if you look at the synopsis, you're just gonna, it's like Lord of the Flies vibes. Like, these girls get like stranded on an island, but then it's like, oh, like then basically they're like not stranded, they've been like put there as part of an experiment.
Oh, okay.
And then every episode, it's American, every episode is like one of the girls, and then like it turns out one of them is like knows what's going on, and the whole way through you're like, oh, who is it? And then the ending was just like, oh my god, this is crazy. So I would literally recommend it to everyone to watch. It's so good. They're quite long, the episode's like an hour and there's 10, but wow. It's
But
like,
that sounds interesting.
it's like psychological, it's like a psychological
Right.
experiment vibes.
Yeah.
Is it
I
non-fiction?
don't want to spoil it. No, it's fiction.
Okay, I was gonna say.
It's yeah.
It's a bunch of people stranded on an island, but you know, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I guess you could.
But yeah, it's good. I would recommend it to everyone to watch. It's quite heavy, like it's like oh my god, but it's good. I don't normally like things like that. I don't really like survival things. Like I've never seen Lost or anything like that. But this one's more like social stuff, so it's good.
I might actually give that a watch.
I think
Sounds
you'd
quite
like it, Abby. It's because it's like it's experimenty psychology.
That's me.
Right. Shall we get on to the main topic of this week? I probably should have said that at the start, shouldn't I? So this week, the reason we had Ishraq on, because we're going to talk about Narcos. And basically, this year we do a module on like the drug trade in Latin America. And it's actually not that much about Narcos, which I'm kind of disappointed in. Definitely the reason I took the module. But yeah, we're going to talk about the series, like the context, which season's our favourite, what we liked and all that. So yeah, the first question I have for everybody is, which is your favourite season? Ishraq, you can go first.
Does Narcos Mexico count? Or is that like separate?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like the first season of Narcos Mexico the most. Just because it's... You still don't see it coming. You have this small guy growing weed, and he just got sort of gets into it, and he becomes a massive drug lord, and like brings together all the different gangs in Mexico into like basically a cartel, which I thought was pretty impressive. And also it feels a lot more, how would you put it, like neutral. Like I feel like the original Narcos show, it was very like go America, like oh yeah, they're like the DEA and the CIA agents were like the good guys, and like Pablo Escobar and Cali Cartel were like the big baddies. So I feel like it was a bit more nuanced, which I kind of like. Although I feel like a lot of people do prefer the original Narcos just because they have like a big love for Pablo Escobar, which I get. He has that sort of paternal like family vibe, especially when it was in the prison, and then just like you had the memes of him just like standing watching over like all of them and all that, which is great. But yeah, I think Narcos Mexico is slightly better.
Yeah, I agree. I think the thing, I feel like Narcos, we were saying this before, I think, so we were saying like the thing with the original Narcos is they probably tried to ease like people that had never seen anything about the drug war, didn't know anything about that kind of history. They tried to ease people into it with this story of like, obviously Pablo Escobar is the like most famous drug dealer ever, probably.
Yeah.
And then with Narcos Mexico, they know they've got people hooked, so they can be more like nuanced. Like it's more about, you're like, oh, where's this gonna go? It's more about him, like Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo as a person, and like I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's my favourite as well. Also the guy, what's the guy called that played Kiki? Is it Michael Michael Penn? I don't know what his name is. It's like
know,
he's in
actually.
he's in loads of stuff. He's in Ant-Man as well.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the friend in Ant-Man.
I find Ant-Man sort of forgettable. Anyway.
Yeah.
I got really confused for a second then, because apparently his name's Michael Pena.
Yeah,
and I was
that's
like, Pena is not the right one.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
That's why I was getting confused. Yeah, I love him, and I thought he was so good as Kiki, because he just like, really, really like feel bad for him, and the way they did his story was interesting.
Oh yeah, he was so lovable. Just like, oh
Yeah,
I
exactly.
actually didn't see it coming either. Like I was like, oh, he's not gonna die, and then it was just like, oh yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Because I mean, I knew because I'd heard the story before, but I think you really think like, oh, there's no way that they're gonna kill literally like a US officer, and then it's like, oh my god, they do, and that's like what changes, isn't it? Which is good. What about you, Abbey?
Well, just quickly, I was going to say, like, in the first series of Narcos, like, about Pablo, they're like, we felt safe because of Kiki. Like, he's our hero because after that, like, they wouldn't dare kill, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And then I didn't realise until he died, I didn't realise, like, oh, Kiki, like, I didn't make the connection.
Yeah,
that was clever. I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think my favourite is the Cali season.
Yeah.
Just because I got so attached to Salcedo.
Oh, is that a spoiler? What do you mean?
No, that's not a spoiler. Right. I was just saying. Like,
I know, but the way you said it is like I got attached to him, like he's gonna die.
No, I'm just saying I instantly was like rooting for this guy.
Okay. Also, I like it from Peña.
I say was because I'd watched it ages ago.
I like it from Peña's point of view as well, because I just hated Steve Murphy. Like, I just hated him.
Yeah,
so I like the fact that
I
it's
did
Peña.
too. I thought that was just me, but yeah, I don't know what it was about him. It just didn't seem like he had a lot of personality.
Yeah.
It was kind of annoying how he got annoyed at. He's literally in Colombia and he's getting annoyed at them speaking Spanish to each other. He was like, why are you doing that? I'm American, I can't speak the language, can't you just translate? And it's like, no, learn their language.
Yeah, exactly. Also, what's the guy that narrates season 3 of Narcos Mexico? I like him.
Yeah.
Do you? I don't know. Because he replaced Kiki, didn't he? Afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just seemed like a big tough guy.
Yeah, I liked him and Pablo Acosta's thing. I liked how they portrayed that. I thought that was a good...
yeah, I like that.
What's his name? Have you got him up? That's the thing about Narcos. There's too many characters.
Walt. Is it him?
Walt, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many characters, it's hard to remember, isn't it? That's the thing about the Narcos franchise.
Yeah.
The franchise, I guess.
Yeah. Where they're going to go next? It's going to be like Narcos Brazil.
Yeah, well, I think they'll carry on.
With Mexico,
Yeah, they did say they're doing one more season, aren't they, I think?
Right. That's another point I have. Did you know, I swear, like, one of the, what are they called? Like, the location scouts, I swear he got, like, killed on set in Mexico. Yeah, I remember reading that. Yeah,
I was doing the research on the show. I was like, wow, he literally just died. Well, we don't even actually know. I think he died. He disappeared.
Really?
We still don't know evidence. Oh. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, it's like that's pretty crazy.
I get, because I didn't know they filmed it. I didn't know where they filmed it. I thought maybe they might film it in like Texas or something. I didn't know they filmed it.
Oh, you know, they film on set. I think that's the one good thing about Netflix shows. They do try to like make it somewhat authentic compared to like your standard blockbuster American film, I guess.
Yeah, that's true actually. Do you watch? Have you ever seen Elite, Ishraq?
No.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit like teen drama.
High schooly.
Yeah, high schooly, but we love it.
But that, I think, because Narcos was the first show in Spanish that I'd ever watched.
Yeah, same.
And then only after that I got into Elite and Cable Girls and all that.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
it's a bit of a leap straight into heavy to jump into, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's the mix though, isn't it? Because some of it's in English, and it's for people that are like, oh, I will never watch something in another language. It's easier for them to cope with the fact that there's still English.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the narration's all English and stuff.
Yeah.
But apparently, they were going to do the whole thing in English, and then so that's why the guy that got the role for Pablo applied, because he was like, oh well, I can speak English.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh psych, we're going to do it in Spanish, and he was like, well, I only speak Portuguese.
Yeah.
So you had to learn.
I
so
did not know
impressive
that. That's
though.
great.
I know. He was like, I'm going to put on 3 stone of weight and learn Spanish.
Wow.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I'm not
wa-
native Spanish because I don't know, but he sounded pretty authentic. I could-
Yeah. In my professional opinion.
My GCSE tells me, wow, it's pretty good.
I watched like interviews with Pedro Pascal because I literally love Pedro Pascal, and
But yeah, big up
he's
Pedro Pascal. Love the
Chilean.
guy. Oh.
Oh, okay.
So obviously he speaks Spanish. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of things now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in like The Mandalorian, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's the Mandalorian, so it's pretty cool.
Spoiler.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep like saying things.
So, how accurate is Narcos for anyone that is interested in watching it?
It's a tough one. I feel like if we asked our resident shooter, Benjamin Smith, we don't know. Completely wrong. Yeah, it's difficult. I think there's a lot of focus on like these individuals, and like the kingpin strategy, which, well, definitely did, like, especially in Colombia, the kingpin strategy is a real thing that happened. I feel like there is too much focus on like a few key people, when in reality, the drug trade is just a lot more decentralized. There are just random people that like, yep, I'm gonna go into drug dealing and, you know, smuggle some cocaine or whatever. So it's not as sexy as the shows make it out, but that makes sense. Like, you got to make a TV show, and it's not as interesting if you're gonna be like, oh yeah, the reality is just a bunch of people with, you know, in desperate circumstances, trading drugs
that's true.
to like get by. Yeah.
No, I agree. I feel like they do. I mean, obviously they're going to focus, and that's why people like. That's why I like it, because they do focus on people, and you see them literally from like how they get involved to like then when they end up like getting imprisoned or killed or whatever. But I feel like I didn't realise that like the concept of a cartel was controversial in itself. Did you know that, Abbey?
No.
So
No.
you can't call it a cartel because that suggests that it's like organised like a certain way, but it's not like this like central thing of like the kingpin and all of the minions, because it's reality it's like loads of people, like street drug dealers and all different drug dealers. It's not just like one, like obviously Pablo, drug dealer, but then he didn't operate on his own. There was all people kind of at the same level, if that makes sense.
There wasn't a top-down model like it's made out to be. There's like this big guy
like a
at
pyramid.
the top. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's what I thought. I thought it was interesting when because obviously I don't know anything. I don't do history. All I know is what Netflix tells me.
Yeah.
So like, I thought it was interesting when Felix like sits them all on a round table.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like he's like in charge, but at the same time he's like, we're all in this together. And, like, and yet he's like in his head he's like, I run the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the
I feel
real
like
world
the thing
is
as
not
well
as fun.
though. Yeah, that's the thing
Right.
though. I think if it gets people interested in that kind of history, and then they're willing to read or whatever, then why not? Because I feel like most people in like England and stuff will never take any interest in like Latin American stuff. So if it gets people sort of interested in that, then I don't see that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's interesting because obviously I feel like as historians we have to despise popular history, saying, "Oh, that's so inaccurate." Just that's not the real world.
Yeah.
But like, it is difficult because it does sort of romanticize the drug trade, and of course, like doing the module we do, Lucy, like there are like real human costs to it, and like there's a lot of suffering and death, and you don't really see that in the series.
Yeah, that's true.
And I get why it'd be very depressing again for a show to like be like, yeah, no, just people dying left and right, but it does sort of I feel like it does romanticize it too much, and it should probably be a bit more realistic, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. That is a big thing, I think. And I think, like, as well, like, I remember last year when I first started the Mexico module, I literally went to the seminar thinking, like, oh, I know everything about Pablo Costa. Like, I'm going to literally say everything. And then it turned out, like, none of it was actually true. Like, he hadn't done loads of those things. He hadn't redeemed himself and stuff. And I was like, oh, Because then I was so disappointed, and it's like, well, yeah, because these are bad people. They're not like, they're not these heroes, like, whatever. And I think that is a thing, that it does make you see them as, like, romantic heroes.
Yeah. Well, that's like, in the second series of the Escobar season,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, he's running across the roof, and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna die. And then I'm like, hang on a second, he literally blew up a plane of innocent people.
Yeah.
Like, like, don't forget it, you know?
What I do like,
it's weird.
What I do like is, though, that it does, I think if you're an American watching it, and you're like one of those Americans who thinks that everything about America is great, then surely you watch that program and realise that the Americans are just as bad.
Yeah. Yeah, the show does that in a good way, I think. I feel like it isn't very like one-sided in that respect. Both sides are crappy. There's no way you can be like, you can't really root for one or the other, which I do like. Because the real war is pretty crappy. Like, the drug dealers are thugs and they're evil people, they do kill people, but like the Americans are pretty shitty people too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's like they talk about Reagan and stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like they're like, let's not forget, it's not these people like pushing drugs into America and like they've got no choice. Oh no, what's this? I'm addicted. What have you done to me? Like,
yeah.
I think those were kind of the good bits about the series. You have the little like links back to real life history, and you have the narration. Like, it's like we're learning something. It's very educational. But in reality, it's not that. But it's all right. That's the job.
I like the way it's made as well, like the cinematography, like how they show the news clips. Like, I like stuff where they show like the news clips and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. Let's not forget what Lucy's actual favourite part of the show is, which is the theme song.
Oh yes!
Best song ever.
I love it too. But honestly, I could jam to it by itself. It's just so good.
Have you seen the Kermit meme?
I've seen it because you sent it to me. It's so good.
Oh, I forget that. I think about that at least twice a week. Every week I think about that. It's one of those theme songs you can't skip, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
I watched it every time.
Yeah, I don't press that button, Netflix. No.
No, you can't. I don't know what it's about. Who knows what it's about? But...
Actually, no, I did look it up. Actually, I think it's about love. I think it's quite a romantic song, which I think is quite odd because obviously not knowing the language and then looking at the if you look at the theme theme song and the clip, you're like, this is like terrible things happening. You're like guns and
exactly.
And like ballot boxes being burnt and things like, oh, this must be like quite edgy, but no, it's quite a chill out song.
Oh yeah, okay, I've got a good question. Have you seen pictures of like the real people, and do you think that they've chosen like the right actors in the series in general to play the real people?
I have seen them. I think Pablo Escobar is probably the most similar, probably the best comparison.
Yeah.
In terms of the other ones, they all just look better in the show than they do in real life, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Peña's 20 years younger in the show than he was in real life when he was looking after Escobar. And I don't know, because they all just look a bit, I don't know, haggard in real life, you know what I mean? They've been through some stuff. But then in the show, they've just come from their dressing room, you know? So
exactly. Full of makeup, nice hair. Yeah,
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they chose Diego Luna to play Felix because he's been in loads of stuff and he's one of the most famous Mexican actors, but he does not look anything like the guy.
Does he not?
No, but he was a great choice. We love Diego Luna, but then he has this he has this innocence about him, which I just feel made you feel,
yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, because they choose obviously it's a Netflix show, they choose all these attractive people, and you're like, well, he can't be that bad. It's like the Halo effect, isn't it? You're like, how bad can he really be? Look how nice his smile is. And then he's murdering people in the next scene.
Exactly. I remember it was good. The woman that played Pablo's mom, she looks exactly like I can't remember what her name is, but Pablo Escobar's mom, the woman that plays her looks so much like. And then the journalist as well
Yeah, I was gonna
Valeria.
Oh,
say,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks exactly like her. It must be. I remember reading like Pablo's son is like, I don't. He like wrote a memoir or something. So it must be kind of weird. Imagine being Pablo Escobar's son.
Well, I watched like a documentary
Did you?
of his, right? Because he changed his name.
Right.
Because he was like Pablo
Right.
Jr. or whatever. Now he's called Sebastian something.
Okay.
And he wrote. I actually have. He wrote a book called The Sins of My Father, and then he did a documentary about it.
Yeah.
And then he like had never, because they fled Colombia, right?
Yeah.
And I think they were in Argentina, and they, in the documentary, they were like, we're going to drive you back to Colombia, and he couldn't. He was like on the border, and he was like, I can't go back.
Yeah.
And then he met with the sons of, I don't know, like people that basically Pablo had killed,
Right.
and they basically like forgave him.
Yeah.
But so I was like, oh, he's not, he didn't inherit the bad gene or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I watched this interview of him, and he was like, all these conspiracy theories, he was like, the police didn't kill my father.
Oh, no.
Right? Because he
Right.
said that the gunshot was on his head, and that's where he had taught his son where to shoot himself if the Americans were coming. So he was like, the police didn't get him, he just killed himself before they could get to him.
So then the police
And I was
made
like, that's
it
a hot-
look.
ooh,
The
hot
police
take,
like
yeah.
took credit for it.
Yeah, but obviously
Whoa.
he's going to say that, isn't he? Because he wants his father
Right.
to
I
not
mean-
be this, like...
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, you
But
could say that the
interesting.
police would probably lie as well to get the credit. I don't know either way.
Yeah.
I could believe either theory, actually. I don't know anymore.
Well, you know, in first year, Ben, who is the legend on this stuff, told us he'd done interviews with like this gang or something that had been involved in Kiki Camarona's death, and Ben thinks, I
What?
think, that Kiki was working with the drug people and that he was killed by the Americans, not by the
Oh my
cartels.
What?
Yeah.
That's a scandal,
Really?
that
I know.
is.
Uh-huh. I think,
see,
I'm like, ooh.
I totally dismiss it, but like, because coming from Ben, so I'm like, oh, what? There's got to
Because
be
the
some
thing
truth
is,
in
right,
that,
it
man.
makes sense. Because then the Americans know that their officers are not going to be killed, and then they've silenced an officer who's working the other side.
Yeah.
But people don't want to hear that because they see Kiki as like this like national hero, so they didn't want to hear
Hero,
that.
yeah.
maybe
I don't want to
he-
hear that. I'm not even an American.
No, I don't want to hear that either.
I know. But I was like, what? Like, I remember it because he
No.
told us about it before the new season of Narcos came out, and I was like, that's crazy.
No.
Although you could argue that they're like still covering their backs, like, no, it was the Americans. The Americans are the bad guys. We didn't go near Kiki.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, they could. I don't
But
know.
what I'm
I feel
saying-
like, at least at some point, because with America everything's classified, but at some point everything is declassified. So I feel like, I don't know how long it has to be, but I feel like if that is true, I feel like eventually we'll find out that it was like he was just like a drug dealer, like, and they killed him.
Yeah,
So we'll see in like 15 years' time. Never know.
I swear.
Surely there's some stuff, though, that they never release. It's America.
Oh,
There's,
yeah.
Surely there's
Yeah.
stuff that they're like, nah, let's
Stuff
not
that gets
declassify
like
that.
lost and stuff as well. Like we
Yeah.
lost the files.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they totally just like burn papers and be like, oh no, never existed. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Please don't come for us if the American government is
Allegedly.
This is all
Allegedly.
Biden, don't sue me.
Yeah, though I think Ben had like interviewed like this like boss, this guy who was responsible for like security for like a cartel and stuff, and I was like what? How does someone even imagine?
I think they like the attention.
Yeah.
Though. They're like, oh yeah, no, I'm a
Yeah.
journalist or like a historian.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about your life. And I feel like they're open to it because like we've read plenty of books in our like module where people just like you sit down with someone and get an entire history of their lives. So if I like,
Yeah.
you could totally do that. I wouldn't do it myself, too risky, but
Yeah.
I feel like
they
it's
don't care though,
possible.
do they? That's the thing.
No, I
They
guess
don't
not.
have. They will never get any like repercussions of it. So they're like, oh, whatever.
That's
I'll
true.
talk about it.
Hmm.
Can't get my head around that.
I know. Yeah. Who? Right. Okay. I've got a question. Who, out of the whole like all seasons, all countries, who is your favourite character ever?
Salcedo.
Okay, good choice.
Thank you.
I need to think about this now. So that's
Okay.
a difficult question.
What about you, Luth?
I'll-
I feel like yours is Mimi. You talk about Mimi all
yeah,
the time.
I do love Mimi, but then I can't just choose the American woman, can I? No, Pablo Acosta is my favourite, right? I loved that story. I thought that was such a great story.
I remember emerging from my room in second year, right? And you just got home from your seminar,
Mhm.
the dreaded 7 p.m. seminar.
Mm-hmm.
And I come into the kitchen and I'm like, I was like an episode away from
Mm-hmm.
the Pablo Costa, and I was like, yeah, Pablo Costa, blah 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 blah, and then I just remember Alex spoiling it for me,
Uh-huh.
like, spoiler warning, he dies, and I remember being like, oh, I wonder if he's gonna get away, and then Alex is like, yeah, he didn't die as heroically as they portray in Netflix, and I was like, he what? He does what? He dies. So then I knew
Spoiler.
it was coming, and I was like, oh god.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I've decided.
Mhm.
I'm going to go with
Mm.
a pretty basic one. I'm going to go with AJ Pena, just because he's the
Okay, yeah.
original. And you follow him through. And yeah, I think he's the only guy you can sort of see, like, yeah, he has fairly good morals, relatively. And yeah, he's just sort of determined to get the job done. I don't know. I kind of like that vibe. Maybe it's a bit too Americanized and looking at American with the good guys, but I don't know. Plus, I just love Pedro Pascal. I just like, yeah, whatever. He's in
Yeah.
anything. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care how bad as a character is, but yeah, whatever. It's Pedro Pascal. How could you not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is as well, like, I think everybody hates Steve. So you're just like at Javier, you're just like, yeah, we love you. Like, Steve, just go home. Like, I like Steve's wife, but I don't like Steve.
Yeah. Well, he was like, why was he like running around for 2 episodes, like, about his cat? I was like, there are bigger things
I
going
know.
on, Steve.
I know.
He's like, yeah, okay, but it's an American cat. I'm like, no, it's not.
I thought that was funny, though.
Yeah.
Do you think Narcos is kind of leading on from what we were talking about, too Americanized, like North Americanized, or do you think it represents South American people and stories in a good way?
It's a difficult one. I feel like it does. Okay, here's my answer. Yeah, it is too Americanized, but it's an American show. It was inevitably. But I feel like for an American show, it does a pretty good job of trying to show like both sides instead of just focusing on the DEA agents or whoever the entire time. You do sort of see the character development of not just the big kingpin drug dealers, but also their families, their love interests. Anyone they encounter on the streets, like it's pretty good in that respect. So I think, yeah, it's Americanized, but in a good way, kind of.
Yeah, I agree. I think for an American show, it's like, alright, like they could have done it proper, like patriotic, we did the good and stuff. So yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. I think so. Because they have, like, it's not like an entire American crew or anything, is it? They have,
Yeah, that's true.
like, advisors, I don't know, writers that...
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah.
Well, they could have done, like, I feel like some adaptions sometimes, like, literally just use American actors for, like, South American roles and stuff, which is obviously good, and the fact that they do speak in Spanish is good.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be the bare minimum, but with the Americans, you have to set the bar low, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like in the Mexico series, they were a lot more like, oh yeah, look at the Americans messing up.
Yeah.
I feel like it was more
Yeah.
like that in Mexico.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't remember what it was that they were like, oh, we can't do it, we've done it wrong, whatever. Well, they torture that guy, don't they?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I didn't know that, because then I was, again, not a history student,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm sitting there and then they're like, oh yeah, the Americans went and taught them all these torture
Yeah,
techniques. I was
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
The school
Yeah.
of the Americas is literally, they trained them all to be generals and then wonder why there's a generation of like dictators in Latin America.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I was just thinking of the first episode of Narcos Mexico when you have the Mexican military, I guess, I don't know what you'd call them, just raiding into Felix's state. I can't remember what it's called now. Terrible with things, but yeah, and I was like, I thought it was a nice representation that isn't just like the Americans doing things. Like you do have repressive regimes and military governments across Latin America, who also take part in the equally horrible killings and shootings and whatever else. So which I thought was a nice addition, which they didn't have to do, but they did.
Yeah, I think they did do a good job of showing how, like, difficult it is to solve, like, the issue of drugs, because of how it's not just, like, obviously the people dealing the drugs, it's, like, the police are involved, the military, the government, and, like, all these things work together, and how difficult it is to, like, even try and address that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought was interesting about the Cali season, because it was like the end of the Pablo season. It's like, he's gone, solved.
Yeah.
And then Cali were like, no, they just stepped in.
Yeah.
That was
they just
that
took
was
over.
nice, yeah, because it does show you that you can't just take out the big kahuna and be like, yep, job done, we out here.
Yeah.
Because that's what they thought, isn't it? That's literally what the Americans thought.
That is what
like,
they thought. Yeah.
We get rid of the kingpin and then they all die, and then it's like,
Well,
no.
I mean, so did the Colombians, to be fair, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
I think the one thing you could be critical of is, again, history shouldn't be that much going on, but they don't question whether or not drugs are bad. You just sort of like address like, cocaine's a terrible, evil drug, and even if you have the nuances of why people deal with them, you just see them like, drugs are bad, they kill you. I think it was in Narcos Mexico we had, what was the main agent's brother's name? Main agent's name? Well, his brother died, didn't he? Of I think it was,
Walt's brother, yeah.
Of like cocaine overdose, or was like heroin. So it was very much like, drugs bad. Remember that drugs are still bad, which I think isn't necessarily true. Like there's a whole thing, and Mr. Benjamin Smith will tell you that it's a lot more nuanced, and drugs aren't necessarily that bad. It's criminalising that makes things worse, and so there is that criticism you'd make. But I guess it's an American TV show about drug deals, so like I don't think you can be like, oh, but here's a nuanced opinion about maybe drugs aren't maybe we should legalize drugs. Like it's not really a sexy narrative.
Yeah.
So I guess,
Yeah.
They're all deliberating how we're going to catch him, and then this guy walks in. He's like, "How about you just legalise drugs?"
Ishraq, have you got like something you can recommend to our listeners? It can be food, if you've got any food.
I'm trying to think. Ooh, I've been watching. It's old now, but I've been watching the latest season of Billions on Sky. You could pirate it.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Great show. I think it's on its 5th season now, and a lot of shows they kind of get boring after like the 4th season, but this one is still going quite strong. So yeah, I'd endorse Billions. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's very good. You'll think you're a good investor, and you know everything. A bit like watching Narcos and thinking you understand Latin American politics. But yeah, great show.
Abby?
What about you, Lucy?
All right, shall I go?
You go.
The Wilds, obviously. And then we were talking about this earlier, but Domino's fake chicken nuggets are better than the Papa John's ones and better than corn, so I would recommend them.
Well, I didn't know Domino's do
Nice.
fake nuggets. That's interesting.
Yeah, they're new.
I have to try that.
They're new.
Oh. Gonna have to try that.
They've got like all these vegan pizzas and stuff now.
Yeah, they do.
But I've realised that I really do have like a hatred for vegan cheese. Like it's like runs deep.
Well, they don't. It's not an option to have a stuffed crust vegan.
Right.
So
You
my
can't.
sister doesn't go for that. No, she just goes for normal veggie.
Go on,
Yeah.
Abby. What have you got to recommend?
Tricky. Haven't been doing loads.
Mhm.
I wouldn't recommend Night Slayer.
No.
And or was it called Night Stalker? Even not Night Slayer.
Night Stalker, yeah, that's it.
Have I been calling it Night Slayer the whole time?
Maybe. It's fine, we get the
Maybe.
idea.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The only thing I've been doing is playing Stardew Valley.
Same.
So get that, I guess.
It's
They just had a
wholesome.
new update.
It's wholesome vibes, isn't it?
That is a
It
good
is,
game.
it is.
As deputy editor of War Games, I recommend it. It's a very good game. For my
It
approval.
is good, and it's developed by one guy.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
just him out there working. You know.
Well.
I've been randomly getting YouTube videos recommended to me of like his him like from like 8 years ago, uploading his little like new tree cutting down animation, and I'm like, why is this on my feed?
It's because you watch
So, yeah.
Sims videos.
Yep.
Thank you for coming on this week, Ishraq. We hope you enjoyed talking about Narcos,
Thank you for
and
having
hopefully
me.
everyone has enjoyed listening. We'll be back next week. We didn't have an episode last week because work and final year is getting in the way. But yeah,
We just didn't address that, but that's fine.
no, I forgot.
I know, so thanks for listening. Follow us on all our socials. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.